good afternoon, good evening all over the world. Looking at gold and silver prices here today. We jumped up from 1584 to like around 1613. Silver went from 1399 to 1444. I wanted to show a chart. This is looking at gold, silver, and platinum for the last year. And I wanted to remind you, we saw silver run up, fall down, run up, fall down, and then we had one more up, and I told everybody I was in the process, especially after this last time, that I was going to sell some silver. And you would not believe the grief that I got for selling that silver right here. Now, a lot of these other peaks were like in the middle of the night. We couldn't really take advantage of, but this one happened in the middle of the day, and we had one more opportunity here, February 24th, and then that's when the bottom fell out for silver. And then here at March 16th is when I bought some more gold and platinum. This was actually probably the deal of the century right here for platinum. Kind of wish I'd have picked up more here instead of gold, but that's what we did, and I'm pretty happy with what I did so far. Now, I wanted to look at a couple of the pricings today. So here's gold bars and rounds, and let's look at buffaloes. So right here it's showing 1760, and so that's a 7.66 premium, but if I click on this, this may be like a 20-day delivery. Some of these that have 20 plus business days, that'll be like over a month. So I wouldn't recommend buying that. So you're going to end up paying 9 or 10% premium for that. Let's go look at Silver Eagles. So this is a 53%. It's probably the same thing. 20 business days, so we wouldn't be buying that. Here's a Money Metals Exchange, 57%. So 2306 for small quantities, but you can get it all the way down to 2266 for larger quantities. But right now that's a 57%, so the premiums on silver are still ridiculous. Let's look at platinum. I've been trying to show random years. All right, so here's APMEX, 22%. Let's see if what the delay is for delivery on this. They've got them in stock, so $900, 22%. That's still pretty high when in the past it's been about 10%, so you're paying about twice as much premium for this right now. But that's still not quite as bad a premium as silver is, and gold still seems to be the best deal right now. So some of the top news that you could probably predict this when you have 3 million unemployed all of a sudden filing for unemployment, that all of a sudden now we're going to have massive delinquencies of mortgages, and we'll just have to see how far that goes for default. I can report that all of my tenants have paid the rent. There's one more that's due on the 3rd, but I expect that that will be paid. But May is supposed to be the big month, and I think every one of mine are working right now. So I haven't seen any issues for any of these. So this, at least in my case, rentals have done very well. So before we jump over to markets, today gold was up 1%, silver was up 4.5%, so that was a big jump. Platinum was up 1.53. When we look at the markets were in the US were at least up about 2% average. Eurozone, France, Germany, really nothing to talk about here. Australia, China, Hong Kong were all basically even slightly down. Japan was up slightly. So nothing exciting. When we look at the different sectors, they were all green in the US. Consumer discretionary was the lowest part there. But you can see this is kind of turned over again and just came up slightly. So we'll have to find out if this is going to continue down or not. I expect it will. Now when we look at our portfolios, the tangibles down here, gold was up 1.64, platinum 1.84, and silver 3.92. And gold is still up for the year. Platinum is down 24, Silver's down 18.93. When we go to the ETF miners, they were up 4.33 today, still down 23.6. The improved portfolio was up 4.46 and still down 24.71. We look at John's portfolio, he was up 4.54 and down 28.35. My portfolio was up 4.77 and down 22.82 year to date. Now Nugget was up 7.86 but is down 77.5% for the year. JNUG was up 7.62 but is down 95%. It's just dead funds. And I noticed these are now labeled 2 times. Somebody reported that, and they did change it when you look at these. I don't know if I can find it here. Yeah, it's up here now. See, it says 2 times shares. So they're no longer claiming it to be 3 times. SPY was up 2.31, but it's down 22.16% for the year. Now I'm going to switch gears and we're going to talk about a calendar for gardening. And this applies to North Georgia, but every significant difference from North Georgia, you have to kind of adjust your calendar accordingly. But I thought this is something that I've had in my head and I've never kind of put it down on paper. So this is just kind of like some scribblings on here, but I'll show you kind of how this thing starts. And my calendar kind of starts in July for the next year. So I'm starting seeds for cabbage and collards. Then I fertilize my existing plants in August. I plant cabbage and collards in September. In October, I do this changeover when it starts getting cold. Sometimes it goes as far as even November, but I start pulling out all my pepper plants, my tomato plants. I till the soil, I mend the soil, and it just kind of sits there. Except for some of the beds, I'm actually starting onions and garlic around this time period. And then I have a fertilization schedule that's about every 6 weeks. So you see this onions, and it's also the garlic at the same time. So here again, when we move into March, this is when a lot of activity happens. So I go out there and I'll till my potato patch. I'll cut the seed potatoes, and a few days later then I can plant them. I usually try to coordinate this around rains. Fertilize my flowering plants, onions, blackberries, asparagus, blueberries. I start my spring seeds, and now this is usually done in the basement because it's still super cold. So I got tomato, okra, herbs, beans, sunflower, peas, cucumber. And then I come back and I do all my raised beds, and I kind of till and amend again. I put cow manure and stuff like that, fertilizers, and just get it ready, because come April I'm actually planting things. I'm still maybe a week out, but I may actually we got a bunch of rain coming up next week, so I'm contemplating Sunday or Monday to start planting some of my tomatoes, peppers. I've already got peas, beans, and cucumber in the ground, but the tomatoes and peppers are more sensitive, so I'm still hemming and hawing whether I'm going to start them or not. Even okra, they may just get transplanted in the greenhouse and just hold for now till a couple weeks into at least April. So come May, and there's like an 8-month calendar for garlic, so you kind of count from when you put it in the ground, and you can start seeing what they look like if you start getting good bulbs. But around May is when I'm typically harvesting my garlic. I fertilize again, then I harvest onions. Now, by the way, I'm going to have a different list of what fertilizers I use for each one of my plants, because I've got about 4 different types of fertilizers that you use. So we harvest the onions in July. So anyways, that kind of completes the calendar. It gives you an idea of roughly what I'm doing. I've got a whole bunch of watermelons, cantaloupes, and stuff, and I haven't put it on the calendar when those are harvested, but they're going to be down here but those are new for me. Well, I did watermelons last year. Watermelons actually, were kind of throughout June, July, August I was doing, but cantaloupes I'm not sure. I gotta put all this on the calendar. That's another reason for doing a calendar. When you start doing all these things, it gets pretty complicated. So I wanted to give you that insight. So I've got a couple little snippets to show you how I start seeds, but I would recommend when you're first starting out, just go buy your plants. Be careful. Like in my area, I wouldn't go buy plants and put them in the ground until it's like mid-April at least, or you're going to potentially have to cover them if it gets really cold. But a lot of these, by the time we get mid-April here, we're past any chance for freeze, but some of these summer plants don't tolerate super cold weather very well. So I want you to think about that. That's probably the best thing to do. Go ahead and start with plants, and you can start practicing growing from seeds, because that's another whole challenge. But I'm gonna show you my 3 years of improved process and how starting seeds now is pretty surefire what I've got going on. But I'm tell you, if you're working and everything, this is hard to do all this stuff. I'm retired, so I can sit here and fiddle fart around and save a bunch of money, because if you were to plant like what I'm doing right now, with store-bought stuff, which are all probably like $3.50 a piece right now, holy crap, you would spend $400 or $500 in plants. So starting from seed, you're probably only spending, say, $30 or something. If you've saved all your pots, even if you buy them, they're not terribly expensive. And I show a lot of this stuff in the videos, what I use. All right, so let's look at the videos.
Okay, I'm in the greenhouse, and I was going to plant some herbs today. So I've talked about these open seed vaults packages, and I had bought the vegetable ones, a bunch of these, and I absolutely love these. The seeds that I get from these all germinate. I've got all kinds of stuff that I'm growing, and everything that I'm showing you from my trays up here is from this, except for like the sweet potatoes. And I think I also bought some hot jalapenos from the store. But anyways, this is what you get. There's 12 different seed types. Now, I've already planted some cilantro. I had some left over from last year, so I'm not going to be using that. But anyways, oregano, thyme, parsley, dill. You can see them all there. Fantastic selection. They even come with these little discs. I'm not a big fan of these, by the way. I just plant in the soil. So I've got a tray over here that I have prepared. And this is really simple. Just fill it to where there's just about a 1/4 inch spacing on the top. And then we're going to sprinkle seeds into each of these cells. And then just cover it up with dirt, well water it. Actually, I'll probably water it first before I put the seeds in. And then I'll put some of the soil on top, and then give it another little dose of water. And then we'll just put it on one of these power seed starting heat mats and watch what happens. But anyways, I got 12 different things. I'll probably have to pull a couple out, because what I was going to do was do 4 plants. So you can see there's 9 in this row here, and then 4 across. So I was going to do 4 plants of 9 is what I'm planning on doing. So you go across this way. This will be 1 plant, 2 plant, 3 plant, 4 plant. That's what I have in mind. All right, so I got to pick what I'm going to do here. Since there's 12, I need to take out 3 of these. Let's see. I'll have to think about that. But anyways, I may end up making another partial tray of a few of these plants. I do have a spot for 4 larger pots up here that I could use, and I may end up doing that. All right, let's get planting. So the greenhouse got to like 120 degrees yesterday, and some of my planting things that I had ready to go completely dried out. So this took a little more soaking than normal. But these are ready to go ahead and plant some seeds. And all I'm going to do is just lightly distribute like 4 or 5 seeds in each one of these. So I'll kind of go across a row here. So I'll start here and I'll pick up maybe like oregano, and I'll put a few here. And then I've got labels. These are little short labels, and I'll put a label for each one of these rows. And then since I have 4 more pots, I'll have a label for each one of those pots. So that's kind of the way it's going to work. Very simple. Let me go ahead and do some seeds now. All right, so what I've done is actually planted all 12 of the seeds, and then I lightly covered these cells up with soil. I did not compact in any way, and now I'm just going to give it a light watering, and then I'm going to put a cover over these to have it germinate. I won't on those. All right. Now I need to make a spot over here on the other side where I got my sweet potatoes and stick the, I'm trying to create slips. I'm just going to move them up on the top shelf and put my tray in here and cover it up. See how these are sprouting? That noise, I have a water bucket underneath my sink to catch any water from when I was watering the plants. I don't actually have water out here in this greenhouse except for what I bring in by bucket. My little slips keep falling over here. This is a pain in the butt. I need to get a different cup for holding these things. I wanted to show you just after a couple days. I don't know if this is going to focus, but there's already roots coming out on this. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Come on, focus. No, maybe not focus. Then I just use these little greenhouse tops. And then after they sprout, I end up moving them up to the top shelf where they can continue to grow. Unfortunately, I can't see what I'm doing here. I transplanted my sunflower plants because they're getting really big over there. Anyways, this is a really good way to do your seeds. Anyways, using these little Jiffy starter trays, they're okay to use. It's just the bottom plastic part is very fragile, so I've upgraded to a more robust tray that doesn't crack. And I'm just reusing the plastic lids, which don't get a lot of use. But anyways, I've got in this one right here, these are all my various types of squash that I planted. This one has sunflower, pumpkin, zucchini, eggplant. This is more lettuce. It'll be several days for those. This is the one I just did. This is more lettuce. And then this is all kinds of sunflowers. I need to do another whole tray of sunflowers, but I just did these the other day. Nothing sprouted yet. So anyways, I am taking full advantage of my greenhouse. Last night it got about 34 degrees, and all I had was that heat lamp and then 2 of these heat mats running. And nothing appears to have gotten hurt at all. Ultimately, I could put up more lights on this side and get these heat mats engaged, but right now it looks like I'm not going to need to. All of these are about ready to be planted. I'm just trying to get past these super cold days, and then I'll get these in the ground. We're getting closer and closer. You can see those beans may have got hurt a little bit by the cold. Little droopy, but I noticed my my okra was hurt the other day, so I moved them over by the heat lamp, and they seem to have done better. But it's definitely a little early for planting some of these things, but you got to try to take advantage of a greenhouse. Hopefully it's not going to get quite so hot in here today. I'm going to keep the door open from this point. You can see it's early in the morning. Right now it's 9:42, and we're already approaching 100 degrees, so I got to get these doors wide open. And I've got this little baby gate to keep my chickens out of here. But ultimately I need to put like an exhaust fan up in the top. I was thinking about getting like a solar one or something, but I need to have it thermostatically controlled. That's the only thing. Because there's certain days where the sun's going, but it might be 40 degrees out. You don't want it exhausting your heat that you got in here. Anyways, we're getting there a little bit at a time. This is pretty exciting watching all from seeds this year. Not one thing purchased from the store. And even, like I said, I'm extremely happy. And I'm telling you, anybody can do these sweet potatoes. I don't know if you like sweet potatoes. We love them better than regular potatoes, but there is nothing to this. You just break them off the plant, stick them in some water, let them get some roots going, and then stick them in the dirt and watch them grow. I probably have one more week, and then these are going in the ground, which is perfect timing for my next sets to, use this same tray for rooting. It got cold in here. I probably should have stuck another heat lamp going. This is part of the hardening process. All right, let's see. I got a few more plants here. Put them up in this tray. We'll see if they sprout outside of using the heat mats and everything. It's been getting warm enough during the day. They probably will. Well, I'll tell you, sometimes the timing is absolutely perfect to get your plants in the soil. Check this out. This is my blackberry plants that I planted yesterday. And this thing went to a full bloom overnight. That is unbelievable. It wasn't blooming at all yesterday. And then this one's popping also. So hopefully it loves what I did here. And we'll get lots of blackberries. I think I said blueberries, but I meant blackberries. These are blackberry plants. And these things will grow like crazy. So I've still got to put up my cattle panel behind this to get more elevation. And that'll be great. Last night, it was only supposed to get to like 39 degrees. Woke up, it was 34, and I had a concern that it was going to be pretty doggone cold. So I came out here probably about 8 o'clock at night when I saw the temperature was dropping so quick, and I stuck these pot covers over the top of my plants. And lo and behold, it looks like it worked. It's like 47 right now, so this is fine to uncover. But these are my watermelon and cantaloupes, and they're not designed for cold weather. So I'll just keep these down here in case I get a couple more cold nights. Oops, I think I squashed that one. Stand up, baby. There you go. Anyways, the dung piles kind of are exothermic anyways, which means they're, because it's composting, there's some heating effects that occur. And so just by putting that little cover over there helps like crazy. Now my front garden where I have my peas, cucumbers, and beans, we'll go take a look at them and see how they did. I covered them with the pots as well. So this is what it looks like in my front beds. So this was the cucumbers and beans, and over there were my peas. So let's see what happened. That looks great. Last year I didn't do this, and I had a whole bunch of tomatoes in the ground, and they got hurt really bad. But a lot of these are cool weather plants anyways. I think something ate the crap out of that. I'll have to keep an eye on that. And here's my peas. Everything looks great. Well, the sun's just coming up over the top of the house, and I wanted to get some video of my azaleas. They're absolutely looking gorgeous if you look across the way. I have one particular type of azalea that blooms super early, and then the other ones in between will be blooming shortly thereafter. They're the encore that blooms a couple times a year. But this particular one only blooms once a year, and they're just absolutely stunning. Here's another one. The blooms are just now starting to open on this one. But isn't that amazing? I love azaleas. I think they're a gorgeous plant.